Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm here to talk to you about a film project that's in development, which is looking at our favorite subjects of consciousness, the universe, and reality. And see, there we go. This project is co-created between myself and Stuart Hameroff, who's going to be following me quite shortly. And we've sort of cobbled together this amazing journey into consciousness and reality. So, what is Mindville? Mindville, first of all, is the title of the motion picture. It's a virtual funfair dedicated to consciousness, the universe, reality, the brain. So it's a place that you go to explore and examine these things. And it's something that's known as a transmedia story world, which I'll touch on very briefly a little later on. So I'm just going to read this, just to give you a little plot outline. When a self-absorbed video gamer, Klaus, unexpectedly faces his last day on Earth, he awakens as a cartoon of himself in a virtual world. With the mysterious and beautiful Shahanna, he journeys to Mindville, a magical virtual funfair dedicated to consciousness, reality, and the universe. Only by gathering knowledge and deeper insight into existence itself can the two find their way back to the real world. So it's a classic sort of hero's journey. Off they go. They start out as live action, but most of their adventure takes place in this virtual state, a kind of a metaphor for their exploration. So let's introduce Klaus and Shahanna out on the road to Mindville. And as you can see, there's another character in the middle there, a large floating brain called Nigel. And Nigel is, excuse me, Nigel is kind of rather like an Obi-Wan Kenobi character, sort of the wise mentor that helps them along and guides them. So here's our first glimpse of Mindville. It's a fun fair, and it's located in this rather surreal sort of desert environment, and some people might notice that it's inspired a little by Burning Man. Those of you who know what Burning Man is. And you can see at Mindville some of these rides and attractions. For example, there's Plato's cave, the Schrödinger and his amazing dead and alive cat, Einstein's space-time continuum, etc. So our characters are able to explore and meet these great legendary characters from history and interact with them and sort of ask them about things. What else on this picture? We can see there's a giant Ferris wheel which features quite prominently. This Ferris wheel is capable of journeying from this classic scale down to the Planck Scale, to the quantum field of reality, which is the ground floor, the basement level of reality. So here we see them at Mindville on one of the rides here with William James, the stream of consciousness. Those of you who know your William James. So the wonderful thing with this is we can sort of illustrate some of these sometimes quite complicated ideas in a kind of fun way. Here we see Einstein, and Klaus is bouncing around on this sort of grid of space-time. He's just about to be run over by the planet. In the evening, you can think about your day at the Zombie Blues bar, along with Plato and a little drop of ouzo. And this one scene perhaps is a little more key to the subject. This is our representation of the Planck Scale. So here's this Ferris wheel. And this Ferris wheel, when you go take a ride on the Ferris wheel, with every revolution it shrinks. It reduces in size by several thousand times or 1,000 times. So you sort of pass through these different levels of reality, down to the level of the protein, down to the level of the atom, then the electron. And as you keep turning on this Ferris wheel, as it keeps going, eventually you get to what's known as the Planck scale or the quantum field. And nobody really knows what this quantum field looks like. I mean, it can be described using string theory or quantum gravity. There are many, many different terms. But essentially, what we're talking about is the basement level of reality, the ground of reality. And it's here that perhaps our science and our spirit can meet. Because when we talk about a scientific investigation to the nature of things, eventually you come through to this level. And when you talk about a spiritual experience or a deep, deep investigation into your own consciousness, essentially you're talking about something expansive, and infinite. And these things, we're starting to really join these dots together now and connect this up and see that we could be talking about the same thing, and most likely talking about the same thing. And I tread carefully there because I know there are scientists who may not quite go there. But we say that this is the basement level of reality. It is kind of, consciousness is embedded at this level. And it gets expressed through us somehow or other, in some rather magical and wonderful way. But essentially, this level of the universe, consciousness is the music of the universe. And Stuart will be talking more about this later. So let me just tell you a little bit very quickly about some of the background story about creating Mindville. I should point out that these little pictures you're seeing are sketches. This is not final art at all. We have a long way to go with the art development. But so let's talk first about this idea of a story world. A story world is a term used to describe what this world we've created in Mindville is trying to tell us. So, for example, another example would be Oz and the Wizard of Oz. What is Oz trying to tell us? How does Oz work? What's it all about? So in Mindville, we're looking at it's a place where science, wisdom, and spirituality meet. And we're making it a fun fair because we think that it's very enjoyable and much more attractive if you can make these things, I think if you could sort of play with them, something joyful and playful and more of a celebration. And so a fun fair rather suggests that to us. So we go there, to this place, embark on a voyage of discovery, and gather the pieces of the puzzle, and then we're able to return to sort of human reality with our new knowledge. So how do we get to the visual style of Mindville? It's a fun fair. It's a traditional-looking fun fair set in the desert. We're combining several different visual styles, including a sort of a Gaudi style, which is very whimsical and fantastic. And we're also influenced by steampunk. Those who know steampunk, that's a kind of a retro technological aesthetic using design style of the Victorian era. And from that, we create what's known as a style book. So I'll just give you a few images to look at. Obviously, this is a fun fair. Here are some images from Burning Man, and you can see the location is represented there. Gaudi is a strong influence as well because it's very beautiful, very kind of this fantasy aspect to his work. And steampunk is great because you can have this Ferris wheel that can do all these amazing things driven by a big steam engine. And if you look at the top right, there's a laptop done in a steampunk style, very beautifully done in polished brass and wood. And there's something really very appealing about that. So how do we thread all these things together to give us the look of Mindville? So I'm just going to run very quickly through now and show you how we do that. So we start out with a pencil drawing, very simple. Moving to something a little more complex, we start to fill in some blanks and get a sense of where things might be, and then color that. That is one step more. And then from here, we can take it to a much higher level. And so the next image I'm going to show you has been done by an artist we've been working with just recently. And you begin to see now how it all comes together, all these different threads. So here's steampunk, here's Gaudi, here's Burning Man, and the fun fair sort of synthesized together. And there you can see Einstein with the space-time continuum. Over on the other side of the image, there's the evil genius and the Brain-in-a-Vat, and Schrödinger and his cats, and the Giant Brain Pavilion in the background. So that gives you a sort of better idea of the aesthetic quality, shall we say, the environment that you would experience when you see the film. So now I just have a short sort of teaser trailer to show you. It's a couple of minutes, so hopefully that will work. taking our story world being Mindville, and Mindville being the story of consciousness and what we are in reality and what have you, how do we build that out to multiple platforms so that we can communicate using different channels? The core of the project is a feature film, but obviously this can go in many directions, and including apps and TV installations, perhaps even theme parks, and a video game. And the video game could be a very, very profound way to explore consciousness, reality, everything to do with this subject, and at the same time, it's a portal into other subjects too. So we could say possibly art and music, you could have live satsangs, you could do almost anything once you arrive in Mindville, but the core purpose and meaning behind it would be to sort of come at this from a point of view of consciousness. So right now, the way this is set up is we have a US-European co-production, and I'm obviously the US version, but hopefully watching us live are my co-producers in Germany and in Copenhagen. I just want to say thanks to them, Nicole Ackerman and Sasha Seifert in Stuttgart for all their hard work. So I want to acknowledge them. And we are also able to access German subsidies and European subsidies to help get us off the ground. What is our vision? What is our dream? I think perhaps we share this with everybody here who is looking to kind of change the world and step us away from this old paradigm of separation and disconnection, I'm here, you're out there, and see the world in a different way. And it's a profound, big thing. It's not a small thing. To shift this paradigm is possibly the biggest paradigm shift that humanity's seen since there's been humanity. So it's not a small thing, and we're very sort of humbled and proud to be part of it. Our dream. Through science, wisdom, and insight, we awaken to what we really are. And this is also a call to action. And if any of this appeals or stimulates you, please feel free to come and see me if you think there's any way you can contribute to our efforts. We're looking for introductions, fundraisers, this sort of thing. Angel investors can even be in Mindville. They can appear as virtual versions of themselves. So hopefully that's irresistible. So I'd like to thank you very much for listening to me, and we'll see you at the movies. Thank you, Deepak.